Hello, algebra students, perhaps geometry students, and any seekers of truth. We are going to talk about slopes of parallel lines and perpendicular lines in this video. So let's first get right down to defining some things here. So slopes of parallel lines, I'm going to say this, given two non-vertical, okay, so non-vertical here is important, lines. The lines are parallel if and only if, okay, so this is a phrase that's very important as well. If we know something about the lines, we can say the following. The lines are parallel if and only if their slopes are equal. And then we can add one more thing. All vertical lines are parallel to each other. So the qualifier non-vertical here, let me change the text here a little bit here, the grammar. So the non-vertical part is important because of the next lines that talks about their slopes. If you have a vertical line, there is no slope, so you can't talk about if the slopes are being equal. But we can say with definitive certainty that all vertical lines are parallel to each other. Okay, so and we'll go back to this concept in a bit as we see some examples. Okay, next we can say the following about perpendicular lines. Given two lines, two non-vertical lines, the lines are perpendicular if and only if their slopes have a product perpendicular if they have a product of -1. Okay. So in other words, the slopes are negative reciprocals of each other. Okay. And then generally speaking, a vertical line is always perpendicular to a horizontal line. All right. So this part about slopes of perpendicular lines require a little bit more explanation. So let's say you have two lines. All right. Let's say you have line 1 has slope equal to something. Let's say it's equal to A over B. All right. And then we can say that L1 is perpendicular. They make a 90-degree with L2, then L2 has slope -B over A. Okay, so they are negative reciprocals of each other. So another thing, so let's look at the other part here that talks about if their slope have a product of -1. So if you take these two slopes, A over B and -B over A, and you multiply them, A over B times -B over A, well, what do we get? We get -AB over AB, which turns out to be exactly -1. So there's two different ways that you can say this. Now again, with vertical lines are special because they have no slope. So any sort of numerical equation that we try to say about vertical lines won't make sense. But we can just simply state this next line here, this next sentence here, that a vertical line is always perpendicular to a horizontal line, and vice versa. All right. So with that in mind, let us look at these 4 examples together and see if they are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. And just a reminder, parallel means that the slopes are equal. Perpendicular means they are negative reciprocal of each other. Okay, so let's see here. The slope of line 1, so I'm just going to say that m1 here is the slope of line 1. The slope of that is 3 minus 2, changing y over changing x, over 2 minus negative 1. So you end up with 1 over 3. The slope of line 2 is 1 minus 0 over 3 minus 0, so that's 1/3. You see, since they are equal, we can say that line 1 and line 2 are parallel. Example 2. Same thing again. Let's start out by calculating slope. So the slope of the first line is changing y, so 3 minus 1 divided by 1 minus 0. So that's just 2 over 1, or 1. M2. 2 minus negative 1 divided by 5 minus 4. So you get 3 in the numerator and 1 in the denominator. And the slopes here they're not equal, and they're also not opposite reciprocals. So this is a case of neither. Okay, so these two lines, they intersect each other, they touch each other, but they do not do so at 90-degree angles. Example 3 here, just moving right along. The slope of the first line is negative 2 minus 0 over negative 3 minus negative 5, so it's effectively adding 5. So we get negative 2 in the numerator, and we're going to get 2 in the denominator, so that's negative 1. The second line here, M2, you get 4 minus 2 divided by 0 minus negative 2, so that's 2 over 2, which is 1. Now these two slopes are negative reciprocals of each other. Another quick way that you can check is if you multiply them together, you get negative 1. So that means line 1 and line 2 in this example are perpendicular. Okay, they're perpendicular to each other. And lastly, number 4. Let's look at the slope of the first line. M1 is equal to negative 8 minus 5, so the change in y, over 3 minus 3. So we get negative 13 over 0. Now, let's be careful here. Most people think that dividing by 0 gives you 0, but this is actually undefined. Right? So this is a vertical line. A vertical line. Okay. M2 would be 7 minus 0 over 3 minus negative 2. So you get, excuse me, not 7 minus 0, it's 7 minus 7. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself there. 7 minus 7 over 3 minus negative 2, so you get 0 over 5. So the slope here is 0, and this is a horizontal line. So you have a vertical line and a horizontal line in this case. Therefore, that makes it perpendicular as well. Right, remember, perpendicular means that they form a 90-degree angle. Okay. All right, so there you have it, 4 examples that hopefully will illustrate for you this vocabulary that we just discussed here. Non-vertical lines are perpendicular if their slopes are negative reciprocals. Parallel lines, if you have non-vertical lines, the lines are parallel if their slopes are equal to each other. All right, I'm going to end this video here. We are going to start up another one in the next set of the notes. Thank you for watching. As always, ask questions if you need it. Keep struggling and working hard. Have a wonderful day.